A good education is the foundation for a better future. With the reopening of school in less than a week, make this new academic year the one where you prepare your mind to achieve all your goals. Hello there. We're happy you could join us for another educational edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. We have a good show lined up just for you, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Are you a PATH or Wards of the State applicant? Then this video is for you. Guess what? You are not required to pay an application fee. And you automatically receive or granted aid of $60,000 upon your application submission for a targeted loan. For more SLB info, follow us on all social media platforms.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, August 28, 2024. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is assuring the nation that the country's economic future is safe, notwithstanding the pending departure of Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke, who leaves office in October for opposition with the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Mr. Holness says the departure is not sudden and all possible outcomes are being considered to ensure the country's best interest is served and that Jamaica remains stable and continue on its pathway and trajectory for growth. The Prime Minister says perspectives being shared in the public are heard, but that the economic progress that the country has made is not based on personality.
Minister Clarke and myself have worked very hard to ensure that nothing that we do is personality-based. It's institution-based. It's creating rules, principles, policies, legislation, and above all, a culture. Because that's the only way that you can entrench legacy.
He says Minister Clarke's elevation is an endorsement and validation of the government's policies being administered.
And we are not a shallow institution. And we don't depend on one man alone. We have a diverse leadership pool, a deep leadership pool. But more than that, every political organization must be able to attract new talent.
In other news, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the addition of 100 new buses to the JUTC's fleet will significantly enhance access to transportation and boost the nation's productivity. The compressed natural gas CNG buses were officially handed over during a ceremony at the JUTC's Portmore Depot on Tuesday.
I want the Jamaican public to see these new buses as an expression of our economic independence. I want you to take care of these buses. I want you to use these buses to increase our productivity as a people.
Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, Darrell Vaz, says the new CNG units will also generate substantial savings for the government.
It costs $60,000 to fill one diesel bus, compared to $20,000 to fill the same bus with CNG. So we save 40,000 Jamaican dollars per bus, per fill. We refuel 125 buses every day. So it's not $4 million, it's upward of 5 million Jamaican dollars per day for these buses.
The buses, which arrived on July 15, will be deployed to deliver services across Portmore, Spanish Town, and other areas in St. Catherine. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance has approved a 3-year maintenance budget to ensure the upkeep of the new buses for the JUTC. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says the approval followed discussions with the Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clarke.
He has approved the funding for the 3-year service contract for these 100 buses. He has approved the refurbishing of 30 articulated buses that are parked all over the place. And when those 30 buses roll out, we clean up Half a Tree, we clean up Portmore, we clean up Spanish Town. One bus go there and everybody gone, because we will have the new buses plus the reconditioned buses.
He adds that Minister Clark is working to ensure that Jamaica acquires an additional fleet of buses for the JUTC sooner than originally expected.
8 of the Golden Dragon Hill Route buses. He has approved the other 16, which will start immediately so that we can get them out for January morning. And last but not least, he has agreed for the second 100 buses, which he already committed in his budget speech, but with my urging, he has agreed for us to pay the deposit this side of the financial year so we can get the next 100 buses in the same time period, which is June to July of 2025, rather than the end of 25 to 26.
The Minister of Education and Youth says there is a marginal improvement in the performance of students in the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC exams for May-June 2024. This is in comparison to their counterparts across the Caribbean. Portfolio Minister Fayval Williams made the remarks during a press conference on Jamaica's performance in both the CSEC and CAPE external exams on Monday. She highlights that the results came from 31,600, or 95.3% of public school students who participated in the CSEC exams.
For 2024, Jamaica's math pass rate for public schools was 39%, and for all Jamaica, meaning public and private and other, that figure was 33.4%. When compared to the regional pass rate of 36%, Jamaican public school students surpassed this figure by approximately 3 percentage points. But when you look at the all Jamaica, which is public, private, and other, there was a decline of approximately 2.6%.
In regard to English A, 76.4% of students secured a passing grade. But Minister Williams pointed out a decline in the overall number of students passing 5 subjects, inclusive of Maths and English A. Several subjects, however, showed impressive results with pass rates exceeding 80%. Among them are physical education and sport, family and resource management, theatre arts, agricultural science, and industrial technology.
Where we are in terms of passes, including Maths and English, we know we have a lot of work to be done there to get that figure up. Against this background, I want to congratulate all of our students who sat the CSEC and CAPE exams. I know it's hard work, and so you are to be commended. You sacrificed a lot and can now look back with satisfaction for those of you who did well.
And finally, the Education Ministry says multiple strategies will be implemented to enhance school safety this upcoming academic year. Minister Fayval Williams says the initiatives will be guided by the Safety and Security Policy, which aims to provide a robust framework for preventing violence in schools. She disclosed the plans during the Jamaica Teachers Association 60th Annual Conference held in Trelawney recently.
The Safety and Security Policy that is designed to prevent violence in schools spells out how to implement physical security measures such as searches of students' school bags, organizing training programs for school personnel to recognize warning signs and intervene effectively.
In addition to the physical security measures, the policy will also address other areas. These include providing counseling for at-risk individuals, creating thorough crisis and emergency plans, defining roles for the community, parents, and students, and encouraging positive conflict resolution.
I know that the support that we give includes coordination of searches upon request, regular school visits, motorized patrols in the general school environment before and after school hours, regular patrols in the transport and town centers to prevent students loitering during school hours, safety audits and reports upon request, investigation of critical incidents, training session for staff and students, motivational talks, gang prevention intervention, summer camps, mentorship programs.
She says these efforts are supported by the Restorative Practice Training Program being jointly administered by the Ministries of Education and Justice. 500 schools have been targeted and more than 12,000 students have participated. And that's it for GIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
At some point in our lives, we have heard the phrase, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Now that saying still holds true today, well, for some people at least. There is one person in particular who could not imagine herself doing anything other than what she loves, and that is auto mechanics. She shares her story with us. So let's take a look.
Quite often we hear the phrase, it's a man's world. But is it really? There are women who continue to break that stereotype and prove themselves capable in any field. Women have been shattering glass ceilings and doing jobs that are male-dominated. Kanidra Gardner is one such person who has made a name for herself in the field of auto mechanics. Even with her well-manicured nails, she's not afraid to get her hands dirty and get the job done. This story begins early in life.
So when I was younger, or from baby stage, my father is a mechanic. So being around him, growing up in the garage, he might tell me, pass this, give me pass 110 spanner, give me this, that. You know, when he might go buy parts and carry me with him. So watching him work and everything was like really it was a bonding moment, but also it was a learning moment for me as well, because that's where I got all my knowledge from.
But that was only a part of it, as Kanidra set her mind to pursue what she was passionate about.
And then when I was in primary school, they were saying that they wanted me to be a nurse. I don't want to be a nurse. No, I don't want to be a nurse. I want to be a mechanic. So when they used to dress me up in nurse outfit, go school, when I reach at school, I want to look a piece of cardboard and want to look a piece of cartridge paper, cut it out and put mechanic and stick it, like staple it. Yeah, I used to have a grade 1 teacher, her name is Miss Hill. Anything I want to do, she made me do it. So she used to make me write the mechanic on it and she staple it for my uniform and we take a picture and yeah, I'm a mechanic in a nurse outfit.
Though she's one of a relatively small number of females in a male-dominated career, Kanidra refuses to buckle under societal pressures.
Being in a male-dominated career, it is very challenging because a lot of men, you know, when they see a woman in the mechanic shop, they're like, no, this woman never work for my car. They don't want it, but at the end of the day, sometimes we as females might know a little bit more than the average mechanic, or because we go to school for it, but if you put your mind to it, yeah, them can't say anything.
When asked, if not mechanic, what other career option would you choose? This was what she had to say.
That's a very tricky question. If it was not mechanics, maybe my mother would have her way and would have become a nurse. Or, I don't know, I don't see myself in no other career section or anything. If I'm a mechanic, then I really don't know what else it's going to be.
Her motivation is just knowing that better days are ahead. As with any other career, getting ahead in the auto mechanics field is a continuous learning process. With sound advice from her father to be open to learning something new every day, Kanidra urges others to do the same.
Don't be stuck up and saying, you know everything and I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. No, that's not how it works. You have to be open to learning from other people who has been there, who has gone through worse in the mechanics field.
With all the challenges she's faced being one of a few women in a field dominated by men, the 5'3" mechanic is moving forward with the support of her father, who has been with her every step of the way.
I can't say I've overcome it, but I work with my father, as everybody knows, and he has the strength. So with things like when I can't pull, sometimes he will help me and he say, all right, I'm not helping no further. So I just crack it a little bit and then I take it from there. So
while she continues her journey of doing what she loves, she has this to say.
To a female who wants to enter the mechanical aspect, the only only thing I can tell you is hold up your head. Believe in yourself. Do it for you, not for others. But make sure you're learning and you're not mash up nobody's vehicle. Yeah.
Respect for myself and others. Self-discipline means there's a right way to conflict resolution. Kindness and compassion say being nice is normal. Honesty and integrity are badges of honor. Yes, we choose values for life.
Encouragement is like fuel to the soul. It gives you the drive to keep moving forward, especially in the face of challenges or uncertainty. Sometimes children are unmotivated, but a good pep talk can change the way they feel or how they view life. Listen up as we share a powerful message for the young ones.
The first step of wanting to get empowerment and be empowered is you must never be satisfied with the way you are. You must always be seeking to improve. So you must always be seeking more, seeking better, because you can always do better. You can always improve. And I believe that sometimes in our society, we don't always encourage people to improve. Even in our household, we tend to say, well, you're just like your daddy, meaning to say you're not going to be better than what your father or parent has achieved. You go on like you're better than people, meaning to say that we must all stay at the lower stage and not seek to improve ourselves. In fact, there is this thing in our culture that makes it appear as if someone is trying to improve themselves, they're doing something bad. That is true, right? When what we should be doing is to applaud people who work hard and achieve. Right? Yes, that's what we should do. But somehow in our culture, we have turned it upside down. And it is very pervasive in the classroom because you see what happens is it provides cover for people who are lazy and people who don't want to change and people who are set on a pathway to failure. So they don't want anyone doing better than the average because then they will have to put out a little bit more effort. Now, if that is allowed to be the common standard in the society, then our society will never improve. So one of the things I want to give you today is that you must never be ashamed of success. And you must always seek to be the best at what you do, to be excellent.
Parents who are engaged in their children's education are essential. And children sometimes struggle to prepare themselves effectively because they have little to no guidance. As the curtain on summer comes to a close and the school doors are opening, here are some ways parents could help their children prepare for the new year of learning.
Parents, be honest. We often slacken up on our commitments to our children, right? Yes. So today we have prepared a formula for you to change that. Joining me is Interim CEO of the National Parenting Support Commission, Mr. Andre Miller. Thanks for coming, Andre.
Thanks for having me.
One of the first things that I want to talk to you about is having your children read books from the book list before school begins.
Well, that's a good point. One of the things that we recognize is a widely held notion that children are not reading. That's not so. They are reading. What we note is that children are passive readers, especially during the summer period. So we must differentiate between information and education. So children will engage with reading via the WhatsApp and Twitter and Facebook. They are reading. But what you find is that that's passive reading. And passive reading does not necessarily augur well for their cognitive development. Whilst active reading suggests that your child is embracing their intellectual rigor and their cognitive skills, and they're now engaging with the learning process. Maybe your child loves technology, and so maybe you can engage them by sending articles via WhatsApp to their phones that they can read, and you can question them about what they have read, and that is preparing your child to actually ready themselves for the new school year.
That's very good. And another problem that we have with our children in the school system is that some of these children are constantly late. So what do you have to say about, setting a bedtime and sticking to it and a wake-up time?
As you rightfully said, there should be a set time for your children to go to bed. But we go further to suggest that there are benefits for your children to take on these behaviors. In facilitating structure in the child's life, what you're doing is preparing the child for their adult years. You're teaching your child responsibility. So they're learning that there are consequences for staying up late.
A lot of parents are falling prey to feeding their children snacks that they know their children like, but are not necessarily nutritious or good for them. What do you have to say to parents about that?
Well, let's be frank. Children will always love cheese tricks and bag juice. When I was a boy, I loved cheese tricks and bag juice, and they're nice. But children will only engage in things that they want and not necessarily things that they need. And so parents have a role to play in the process. So help them to balance. So some cheese tricks today, but ensure that you have a lot of pineapple and a lot of melon tomorrow.
And another thing that a lot of parents are guilty about is, waiting until last minute to iron their clothes, the uniforms, every night they're ironing. We both know that that's not a very smart thing to do.
Well, in the first place, we know that parents are having an issue in terms of the economy. They would want to do more for their children, but they don't have the resources. And as such, we again promote the principle of structure in the life of the child. So we believe that parents should empower their children to be more responsible. So if it is at all possible, if your child can iron their uniforms as early as Sunday or Saturday for the week to come, that will help them. That will allow them to dedicate more time to the things that they need to, whether it be homework or maybe they want to play some more sports or some more video games. But it must be a trade-off.
Okay, a lot of these parents have forgotten to mention to their children that, you might be bullied, there's going to be peer pressure. How do you handle this? What's the best thing to do in scenarios?
The truth is, children who are bullied oftentimes don't speak out for fear of being ridiculed and for fear of not being believed. And as such, we want parents to realize that pick up some of the cues that your children will pass on to you when they're being bullied. If they're not giving in their homework on time, if they don't want to go to school regularly, if they don't want to go to school, a particular class. Pick up some of these hints from your children and be able to have the conversation as to how they can deal with the matter.
We see where children are able to do well in academics, well in sports and other clubs, if they have the proper time management skills, the support, the encouragement. What's the importance of being an all-rounded child, doing well at everything that they set out to do?
The truth is, children have to be balanced. So whilst they're engaging in academics, we want them to also engage in extracurricular activities. But parents must provide an organized platform within which children are able to exercise all of these things in a responsible framework. They will not be able to do all the activities that they want to do and to give equal attention to each. And so in prioritizing some of these activities, you'll be able to contribute your time and to weigh your time against each of them, therefore being able to do a plethora of things.
A lot of parents are afraid of being a friend of their child, but there are benefits of that as well.
We say to parents, hold them before you can't control them. And holding your children suggests that you know exactly what's happening with them. Parents have a busy schedule. We recognize that some of them go 9 to 5 and 5 to 9. But it's important for you to utilize technology to your advantage. Be smart as a parent. Set specific goals to develop your child in the development of your children. Measure those goals. Be able to monitor some of what you have established for your children. But the critical thing we want parents to do is to communicate with your children at all times. Sometimes you're unable to dedicate the full time to go into the room and talk with them, or maybe you can talk to them via WhatsApp. Maybe you can talk to them via Facebook. Know what is happening in the life of your child at all times. Again, hold them before you can't control them.
Thank you, Mr. Miller, for those useful ideas.
You're welcome.
Okay, so there you have it. Useful tips on how you can be your child's best parent this school year. For more information on the National Parenting Support Commission, call 967-7977. You may also follow them on Facebook, National Parenting Support Commission, or tweet at MPSC Jamaica.
How am I going to go to college? I can't find anybody to stand security for me. I mean, I could ask my aunt, but she's likely not going to want to do it. Let me ask her just in case. Auntie, do you know if anybody I could use to stand as guarantor for my student loan? I'm really struggling here.
Hey sis, what are you stressing about now?
Time is winding down and I need to find someone to stand as guarantor for my student loan. But everyone I ask can't seem to do it, and I don't know what to do now.
So hold on. You didn't know that the Students' Loan Bureau doesn't require a guarantor for the loan application?
Are you serious? That's amazing.
Yes, effective April 1, 2024, the Students' Loan Bureau no longer requires applicants to have guarantors. This applies to all SLB loan products. With SLB, you can make your dreams a reality. Visit our website at slbja.com for more details and follow all our social media platforms to be in the loop.
This is where we close the pages on today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. But be sure to join us tomorrow on this station at this same time for another program you won't want to miss. Until then, visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for this and all you need to know. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry, leaving you with this quote. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. And the willingness to learn is a choice.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.